My boyfriend is addicted to playing GTA role-playing online and plays it 12 hours a day for 7 days a week. Things have gotten so bad that he refuses to work and has basically quit his job. And I honestly don't know what to do. The title says it all. My boyfriend of 5 years is addicted to GTA role-playing, and it's ruining our relationship. He spends 12 hours a day playing, he has no job, and he doesn't help around the house. I feel taken for granted, unloved, and I'm not sure what I can do to help him get a life. For lack of a better words, I'm kinda lost here. For a bit of background, he's always been a gamer. He would play his Xbox a few hours each day, and sometimes I would watch for a while, and sometimes I would just do my own thing. It never fazed me. I found comfort just being in his presence, and him chatting with his friends over the headset never bothered me either. Sometimes it was just some background noise, and sometimes it was quite entertaining. At the start of this year, he got a PC, and immediately got into GTA roleplaying. I was happy for him at first, because we used to watch YouTube videos of people playing roleplay servers and always had a laugh, so I thought it was cool that he would get to join in on the fun. But things started to slowly unravel. When it comes to his job, he started calling in sick for work a lot. He's relatively new to this job and career as well, so he would just be sitting at home playing GTA, and he did this so much where he used up all of his sick leave and holiday leave. Maybe it's a coincidence, I don't know, but he tells me that he doesn't want to work there because of his anxiety and fear of heights. The job is not on the ground level, by the way, and that does check out for the most part. He is scared of heights, so I can understand that maybe this job is a bad choice after all, and he should try and find something else. But the only problem is that he never finds something else, which is starting to cause me a lot of stress. I only have a casual position at my job. If I'm sick or want time off, I don't get paid, so I feel a lot of pressure. At first, my approach was casual, when bringing up the topic of him finding something, and he never disagreed, always telling me something like, yeah, my friend wants to get me a job at a certain company, and that he's apparently waiting for him to let him know or something like that. The casual approach kind of wore off after about a month, and since then it's been endlessly nagging on my part. It's been like 8 months now, so I'm at a loss, but he always tells me that he has a friend who's getting him into something soon, and always just nods his head and agrees like, yeah, I need a job. And I'm starting to think that maybe this is just his way of trying to get me to shut up. When it comes to our living environment, it has always been a bit of a struggle getting him to help around the house. He worked long physical hours, so I did pick up a lot of the slack at home and only had to hound him to help me out every once in a while. But now, if not prompted or nagged by me, he does nothing, literally nothing, and he's home all day. I get home from work, and for the next couple of hours, I'm straight into housework mode before I even allow myself to sit down and relax. He doesn't lift a finger unless I ask him to, and most of the time when I do ask him to help out, it takes 2 to 3 business days with countless reminders before he does the stupid task, and he normally does this with an attitude towards me. Our relationship has also taken a hit. He gets moody at me very often, especially when I try to talk to him about anything and everything. It seems to me, at least, that just the sound of my voice triggers him nowadays. Most likely because mainly all I do is nag him to help out or just to get a job, and he's sick of hearing it. But I'll come home and I'll come in and try to say hello or just to talk about my day, but God forbid I interrupt his gaming session. He gets so mad, and for what reason? I will even leave him alone for a few hours just to try again, only to then get the same reaction from him. Most nights I fall asleep without him by my side, and when my alarm goes off in the morning, he's still on the computer. I've never been really all that clingy. He was always the clingy one before, and I would have to scream for some personal space, but now I barely get to sleep next to him at all, and it hurts me knowing that he would rather be in another reality, rather in bed with me in this reality, actually being able to touch and hold each other. I miss him and I love him, and I'm trying so hard to put myself in his position. I went through a few years where I was severely depressed, and my lifestyle was very similar, except instead of gaming, it was just binge watching shows and movies. And instead of no job, I just cut my hours back at work to make just enough money to survive. But that's all I wanted. I didn't want to be out of the house even a minute longer. I'm wondering if he is going through the same thing, and I don't know how to help. When I was going through something similar, anyone who tried to help out or talk some sense into me never really broke through. I was either too lazy to listen, or I simply could not be bothered to go through with it. I eventually came out of it because I decided to do so I can relate, but I just don't know how to help him. All of this week, I'm sleeping in a different bed. I have told him that I'm unhappy, and I'm tired of having the same conversations with him. A part of me hopes that he will realize that our relationship is falling apart, and he will start to make some changes. I still hear him in the computer room from morning until the next morning like nothing has changed. So at this point, I I really don't know what to do. I gotta be honest, I'm actually really surprised that the original poster is even with this person anymore. This person's made it abundantly clear that they would rather be playing video games than spending time or helping out with their girlfriend. Like, this is just inappropriate. When your gaming hobbies, or any other kind of hobby for that matter, gets in the way of your financial obligations of work, as well as trying to provide for yourself or the person that you love that you live with, then that hobby or activity needs to go, or at least done in moderation. To spend 12 hours a day and sacrifice your job just to play GTA is really an unwise decision, because then your significant other's just going to be left out of your life. And that's exactly what's happening here. This boyfriend needs to get a job and get to work, as well as start helping out around the house. He is neglecting his real life in exchange for a fake life. And if he has any hope of trying to salvage his relationship, then it's probably time to turn off the PC and start listening to his girlfriend, because otherwise she's probably gonna leave. My boyfriend has been draining me emotionally, and I don't know what to do. For the most part, overall, my boyfriend is a good guy. He's loyal, gentle, hardworking, supportive, considerate, and a handyman. 2 of his ex-girlfriends have dumped him and cheated on him. He has a lot of emotional baggage too. We've been dating for about 3 years now. I moved in with him a month ago after doing a long-distance relationship for a while. While doing the long-distance relationship, he would call me 3 times a day, and he would frequently ask me if I loved him. He worries if I am cheating on him all the time. He has my location and my phone password. One time, he went through my iPad to see if I was cheating on him, even though I wasn't. He also has weird comments about what I wear. He says he doesn't like it when I wear crop tops or choker necklaces, because he worries I'll get too much attention from other men. I told him I don't like feeling judged, and I just want to express my style freely. Ever since moving in with him, he comes home frequently in a bad mood. Don't get me wrong, I have bad moods too, but he frequently comes home in a bad mood and just unloads it on me. I've been working part-time and have applied for other jobs since moving in. I clean, I cook, I do laundry, and I take care of the pets while working part-time. He comes home in a bad mood either because of work, his truck that needs some repairs, house repairs, his family, finances, his health, or it's just about something with our pets. Over the weekend, his parents filed for a divorce, and I spent the whole weekend comforting him and emotionally supporting him. Obviously, I feel terrible for him, as well as his family, so the least I could do was just to be there for him. He mostly complains about money. For example, last week he asked me when I would switch to working full-time because he isn't doing well financially due to his expensive medical bills, mortgage, car repairs, and broken AC in the house. I tell him that I understand his frustrations. I offered to find him assistance programs for his Crohn's disease. I offered to help cover some of his bills. Also, I do help pay for the groceries and pet supplies. Today, I came home and he was in a bad mood still because of the pets. The cats had gone to the bathroom on the carpet, as well as on our guest bedroom and in our closet, so he had to rip out the carpet while I cleaned the bed. Then he complained about how expensive the new carpet will be, which then led him to complain about his job, then about his life in general. It's a cycle, it seems like. It left me feeling emotionally drained. I have been comforting him nearly every single day since I've moved in. I'm just dealing with his negativity all of the time. Recently, I've been experiencing depression symptoms. My mom pointed out how it seems like I've been declining mentally. I feel bad for how stressful his life is, and I want to be there for him, but I have a feeling this is how our relationship is always going to be, where I'm constantly comforting him and validating him on a daily basis. He means well, but I fear our relationship will bring me down and make me mentally decline even worse. I even have the urge to break up with him because of his negativity, but I feel like I'm being selfish. What should I do? I think it's time to explain to him that you can't possibly be the only resource that he can have when it comes to working out his feelings. This is obviously draining you of your energy, and you feel like it's tearing you apart limb from limb, and I can completely understand that. It seems like he has a lot of hurdles in his life, and it looks like he's trying to navigate it as best as he can. But he needs to understand that you can't be the only person to bear this burden. For your own mental well-being, you need to explain to him fully and completely that the way he's been treating you is just not fair. He needs to learn how to help himself and get treatment for his mental health issues, because otherwise this is only going to cause more problems in your relationship. And I think you have it right. If this is the way this is going to be, your mental health really will decline, and that's not fair for you. So have this conversation with him and tell him that he needs to figure this out, because otherwise this is just not going to go well. My boyfriend will not only not let me meet his family after 3 years of being together, but when I try to break up with him, he won't let me leave. And now I don't know what to do. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We broke up a few times during year 2, but we've been together all of the first and third years. Neither of us come from very good families or homes. Despite that, he refused to allow me to meet any of his family, not his dad, mom, brothers, sister, anyone. He met my parents and siblings after about 2 years one time. Our relationship has been pretty back and forth, and I am the one who did the breaking up each time, so I kept telling myself that he never let me meet them because he was afraid I'd leave him again. The thing is, I've left him each time because he won't let me into his life. I can't meet his family, we never go on dates or do anything together, he doesn't let me hang out with his friends, nothing. I'd beg him to change and he wouldn't, so I would leave even though it was destroying me because I loved him more than anything. We would both date other people but always ended up back together, or he would text me these long messages basically apologizing or telling me that he's depressed and that I'm the only one that fixes it, explaining that he would do better, and then I would come back. The last time when we broke up, he put on his Tinder bio that he would tell his mom he met the girl of his dreams on Tinder. That felt like a punch to the gut because I'm still not good enough to meet her. We've been together again for a while, and I don't want to bring up the Tinder thing because I don't want him to get mad at me. The last time I brought up meeting his family a few weeks ago, he put a hole in the wall with a chair because I wouldn't drop wanting to know why. I'm trying to be understanding, but at the same time, I'm just hurting. My uncle passed away a while ago, and he was a lot like a dad to me. I asked him to come with me to the funeral just because it's so small and not a lot of people are gonna be there, but he refused. He went to a football game with his friends instead and actually Snapchatted me from it. If I try to talk about it or threaten to leave, he then threatens to go to drastic measures or tell me that no one will ever love me like he loves me. Things like that. His friends know we're dating and they already knew me before we started dating, but he won't let me around them either. It feels like he wants me in a cage sometimes and completely separate from everyone else in his life, but he doesn't want me to leave him. I don't think he's seeing anyone else because it took him a long time to even start dating me officially. It was almost half a year before we even called each other boyfriend and girlfriend. I love him so much, and I know I'm not perfect, but I'm at a loss on what I really should do in this situation. This guy sounds really toxic, to be completely honest with you. It also sounds like he has some serious anger management issues. I mean, he put a chair through a wall all because you asked why you couldn't see his family. Like, that's really weird. And you've been together off and on for 3 years. It's crazy to me that you haven't met anyone from his family, or he doesn't bring you around his friends at all. But here's the thing, if you don't feel like this relationship is gonna work out, and in my opinion, I don't see this working out, you can dump him and move on with your life. You don't need his permission or anything like that. You can just leave. And to be honest, from the outside looking in, his behavior seems very controlling and manipulative. Someone who actually cares about you wouldn't try to go out of their way just to make you feel bad. So in my opinion, if you really did want to leave him, you totally can do that, because this does not sound like a healthy relationship in the slightest. And it might be in your best interest to move on and find somebody else, regardless of how he feels. My ex is demanding closure from our breakup, but I refused, and now I don't know what to do. I have an ex from a very recent breakup. Before the breakup, I took a week to think about it. We were together for 6 months, and I was unhappy with us half of that time. I tried to fix things and work on communication, but this was exhausting and stressful. I couldn't continue down this path. We got into it a lot and had a lot of arguments. If we made up or tried to let it go, the argument would appear again. So I stopped letting it go and I just held my ground. After much self-reflection and review of records, I saw myself making an effort to improve communication with clear and more precise statements. But their positions were contradictory. They were moving the goalposts, splitting hairs, and constantly reframing what they were arguing about, even from a frame they introduced in the first place. This became so stressful, and our common ground simply eroded. I spoke with them about this honestly, and said all of the things in this post. While many promises were made, our arrangement became no more coherent, so I ended things. Now, my ex wants closure, and I feel all my reasons are on our records. I spilled everything out from any angle I could. I am just simply tired. Although they would deny it, I feel like the bids for closure are just an attempt to cling to me. They lashed out and presented me a lot of negative speculations as to my motivations for breaking up, and all of these are just untrue. And if I responded point by point, I'd just be defending myself again. I need the pointless arguments to just stop, so I refuse to engage. If they are not attempting to resume troubleshooting and reestablish the relationship, they may be acting on impulse, maybe out of a desire to suck me into all of it once again. I'm giving them simple reasons why I didn't want to keep this relationship going. I even said that I was unhappy in the relationship relationship and that it just wasn't working out. We were not compatible. But this is not the closure, apparently, that they want. They want an explanation that we both could understand and agree to accept. I do not believe this can be accomplished with someone who does not wish to be dumped and with who I have a history of being unable to establish a coherent disagreement. Any non-reductive complaints I had while we were still together were not understood or addressed meaningfully, and this pain from not being seen is not something I wish to relive as some kind of attempt to provide closure. I also believe my ex does not want to accept the breakup, which would prohibit them from understanding or agreeing to the closure if I tried to build one for them. I am not sure if I'm a believer that closure can be given in a relationship. When I had my heart broken, it took me a lot of time to review the patterns in the old relationships and finally understand why it ended. I have always had to create my own closure, and that's just the way it is. But it begs the question, am I being irresponsible or heartless by refusing to engage with their speculations and demands? What should I do? It sounds like your ex is incredibly toxic, and I don't blame you for cutting them off. And I think you're right. They don't want to go back just for closure. They want to try and come back just so they can get the last word. They don't like how things were broken off, so they want to try and come back into this and start slinging mud once again. They only want to try and hurt you, in my opinion, and that's just not worth your time. You quite literally don't owe them anything. And you know what? It's not in your control how they're going to get closure. If what you've told them isn't enough, and after highlighting all the reasons why you broke this off, then that's their problem to figure this out, not you. So in my opinion, just keep going the course, because either way, they are out of your life, and based on the way they're acting right now, that's probably a really good thing. My husband has anger issues and thinks that I should just accept it, and I really don't know what to do. I recently got married less than a month ago, and I've known my husband for 3 years before marriage. He has ADHD and anxiety, but didn't display anger until a year into our relationship. At its worst, his anger has included shoving me, throwing things at me or around me, breaking things, and punching walls. And one instance, he tried to yank the car keys out of my hands, which resulted in my fingers getting injured. I am getting more and more fed up with his anger. Upon my insistence, he started therapy about a year ago, but I've barely noticed any improvement. He gets angry over the slightest things. Like if I ask him a question in a noisy environment, it will cause him to slam his phone down or throw it, or clench his fist or bite his lip really hard. And then he'll say that he needs some space and he will leave for hours. And this is all over something very trivial and often of no fault of mine. Because of these anger issues, I have grown quite fearful of him and often anticipate his anger. And due to this, I've developed anxiety and my depression has worsened. The incident that happened today was that I was talking with him and he must have wanted to say something, and then all of a sudden, he slammed the laptop shut, clenched his fists, and bit down on his lip hard. I asked him what was wrong, and he said he forgot what he wanted to say. I became quite depressed because I felt like I shouldn't say anything to him, or I might anger him further, and I felt I was the reason for his anger. I went to my bedroom and he followed me to comfort me. At this point, I explained to him that his anger scared me and made me depressed. The problem I'm having is with his reaction to me saying this. He said he was just feeling frustrated, that his reaction was normal, that it isn't comparable to his usual anger, and that apparently I should be commending him for controlling his anger better than usual. I don't know. It didn't feel too different from him punching walls, to be honest. I just want him to not express his anger like this. Am I in the wrong here? What should I do? You are not in the wrong, and I've got to be honest, his anger is really scary. I mean, sure, today he's throwing stuff at you and breaking things and punching the wall, but tomorrow it could become a lot more violent, if you know what I mean. And I really don't think this is a healthy relationship. Literally nothing about his behavior is in any way, shape, or form normal, and you do not deserve this type of treatment. I mean, he's throwing things at you and he gets aggressive. That's absolutely unacceptable. He got mad at you because he forgot what he was gonna say. He slammed his laptop shut, clenches his fists. I mean, this just seems like really reckless behavior, as well as really abusive. And worst of all, it sounds like he does not want to change, and he's trying to justify his outbursts as him trying to change and be better, when in reality, this is just not the case. I think you really need to consider your safety in a time like this, because this man is definitely not stable, and I would be hard-pressed to think that this won't turn bad very quickly. So in my opinion, it's time to reevaluate your relationship, because I don't see this problem going away overnight, and unless there's some kind of crazy intervention, I just see this going really badly, really fast. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And the next time you live stream, use the cream of the crop music. Search Cream of the Stream on Spotify Spotify, or whatever platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your next stream.